Hi everyone, thank you for joining this webinar about understanding analytics in SharePoint with MVP Goran Husman. We will give all the attendees an extra couple of minutes to join, and then we will start. Thank you for joining. We're about to start our webinar with Goran. Hi Goran.
Hello, hi Arthur.
Hi, how are you?
Everything okay?
Everything is fine, thank you.
Great.
Perfect. So just before maybe starting, I will do some housekeeping about this webinar, giving the time for the other attendees to join. So as I said, few webinars are keeping. So first of all, this webinar is recorded. The recording will be sent early next week to the registered and attendees. Today, webinar is going to focus around the analytics and statistics in SharePoint, with Goran giving us a lot of insights as an MVP for Office 365. Everyone will receive the recording, and in the meantime, when we are live, you can connect to us and interact on Twitter with @cardiolog or @Goran Husman. And in all the questions, we will save some time by the end of the webinar to answer all the questions. So to ask your question, since everyone is on mute, to ask your question, you can use the question panel in the GoToWebinar. Write down your questions and we will make sure that we answer you. If we're running out of time, we'll answer by email to the different questions. What's on today? So the webinar agenda, I will start with introducing this webinar around Intlock and few key information about us. Then we will give the hand to Goran, who will present us very useful information about SharePoint statistics. And then we will have a second part on how to use analytics to improve adoption in SharePoint. And as I mentioned just before, we will have the Q&A time at the end. So briefly, some key informations about Intlock. So Intlock developed Cardiolog analytics over 10 years ago. Since the very beginning, our solution Cardiologs is designed and dedicated to SharePoint. So it works on all SharePoint versions, especially Online and Office 365, but also 2013, 2010. We integrate with third application parties, notably Yammer, Citrion. We have adapters for Salesforce Dynamics. And we have customers all over the world. And the tool Cardiolog Analytics is designed in order to understand the portal, and our main goal is to help organization to enhance their portal. And for that, we have three pillars within Cardiolog Analytics. The first one, obviously, is the monitoring part of the tool that helps you to create your reports, understand the usage of your portal. We have a complementary pillar which is called Engage, and we talk to our customers about the need for them to get feedback from their users. After all, they are the end users are very also important to understand what's going on in the portal, what are their main challenges, and so on, in order to drive the adoptions, which will enable to also enhance the portal itself by increasing productivity, and at somehow also the return on investment on SharePoint. Before introduce you to our guest speaker, Goran, I'm very sorry I missed to present myself. My name is Arthur, and after Goran's presentation, I will show you some of the features of our solution. I will now give the end to Goran and make him as a presenter, so we'll share with us his presentation. So Goran, you should have the end now.
Yeah, thank you, Arthur. Hello and welcome to this webinar. I'm Goran Husman. I'm a SharePoint MVP and mostly working with SharePoint since 2003. And right now I'm officially an Office 365 MVP for some years, but it's still SharePoint that I'm focusing on. It's Friday, it's a lovely day, and what can be more important than having fun with SharePoint? So let's continue. We see we have some features in SharePoint that allows us to find out information about what people are doing in our SharePoint environment. So we have two kinds of statistics. We have one that's called usage statistics, where you can find out how much a single item or a site collection is used. And then another very important type of statistics in SharePoint is search statistics. For example, what are people searching for? What are they searching for but are not happy with the results, and so on. So that's really important information to the people who is responsible for keeping track on the content of SharePoint and make sure that people actually can find and do whatever they are expected to do with SharePoint. So let's look at the usage reports. We have an update every 24 hours in SharePoint Online. We have the similar, almost exactly the same statistics in on-prem, by the way, but this seminar is about SharePoint Online. So every 24 hours we will get an updated statistics for the popularity trend. And as I said, it's for a site collection, a single site, or an individual item. But you can also get statistics how an item or a library is used. For example, a document or which document is most popular in a document library. That's the kind of information you can find out, and I'm going to show you in just a few minutes exactly. And the information is usually presented by an Excel report. So the SharePoint will automatically open an Excel spreadsheet, and you will have some tabs in that Excel report that's called views to see the number of views for a single item or whatever you're looking at. And then there is something called recommendations displayed. How many times it was displayed as a recommendation. And then we have something, recommendations clicked, and that is if somebody clicks on a recommendation. And one thing that I was wondering about when I saw this first time is, how do you recommend something? What is this? Because it's new for SharePoint. So I have my my environment here, and it turns out that one way of doing it is simply using web parts that's called popular items and recommended items. And the popular items shows automatically information that the search engine has discovered is very often opened in your environment. And if you click on that, it will be regarded as something that you clicked on a recommended item then. And then depending on who you are and what kind of information you're working with, SharePoint is also trying to present to you some items that SharePoint thinks is interesting for you. So it has this web part for recommended items. And if you start clicking on that, you will see it show up in these tabs for the recommendations displayed and clicked. So let's start with the popularity trends. The first point is about looking at the site collections. So if you want to see how much a site collection is used, you can follow the links here, go to site settings, and then in the site collection administration part, you click on popularity and search reports. So let's do that. So I go back to this one, and I'll go and open the site settings. And then I'll have this page, and we have this popularity and search reports. Then I get a number of options what I want to see, and I'm going to select the usage reports, and then we can talk about the other types of reports later on. But the usage reports shows information about this site collection. I mean, even if you have hundreds of subsites, all of them are grouped together in a statistical way to get you an overview of how many users you have and so on. So let's try it out. So we see, do you want to open? And I say, yes, please open this Excel report. And it shows me now that for the last 14 days, we have a statistic that shows how many hits and how hits on the left side, numbers, and the number of unique users. And you can see that we are not that big companies, and that's true. We are a small company, but small but good. Human Data is my company. Then we have the same statistics over monthly periods. So for going back to 2013, actually, and you can see it's flat on this one because we didn't start using our SharePoint online environment until that day, and then it started on. So that's the views, and then we have the raw numbers. So if we want to do some more statistical analysis using Excel, for example, we can do that with those numbers. Then we can see how many people did click actually on the recommendations you saw on the previous web part I showed you. And you see that just a day ago it started to go up, and that's because I prepared for this demonstration. Otherwise we don't use that, to be honest, but I just wanted to show you that it reacts on clicking on those web parts I showed you initially. And for a month, recommendation clicks also did a demo earlier this autumn, and that's showing up at that time. So that was for a site collection. sometimes I want to see how much a specific site is used. And then I have another one, a link on the site settings page, and this was the one we looked at previously. Now we're going to look at this one, popularity trend. And for every site you have the same link. So you can go to any subsite you have and click on this usage to see how that particular site has been used. And again, it's open, and you see the number of users and how it changes over time. And you can see you probably had like a weekend there and a weekend there, and that's in the middle of the week and so on. So that's the information you can get together with the raw data on the left side. And again, you have recommendation displays that showed up there, but we don't use it, as you see. So that's why it's a flat line over there. So, but that was for a single site. If we go back to the PowerPoint, so that was step number 2 I just showed you. And then we can go look for a specific list item or a document, really. So we selected a document and see how popular is this document. So let's go back and let's select one of those documents. Just open a document library and see, for example, this one. How popular is this document? I switch to the Files ribbon, and then I have the popularity trends here. So when I click on this one, I will see statistics for that particular document. So let's see. And we see it hasn't been used a lot, actually. So maybe that was a bad example. Maybe we can look at something else. So let's see, try this one instead. Let's see if we get some more interesting results. So, oh yeah, okay, it was in the end of the last year. We used it quite a lot, but not so much after that. So it's probably a business deal we did at that moment. So, so that's the way you can select a document, for example, typically, and see how popular it was. And by the way, you can also see this if you, for example, if you click on this one, you see at the top here, you see 15 views, which shows that this document has been opened 15 times. Okay. And then another interesting question you can ask SharePoint is to show you which document is the most popular or document, and you can actually search within a specific type of documents, so it doesn't have to be all the documents in a document library. I show you this, it's easier to show you. So again, I select this document library called Affairs document, the business documents, and then this time I open the ribbon called library, and now I open the most popular items, and this time I don't get an Excel spreadsheet, but I get a web page. It's actually a specified search feature built into SharePoint. So I can see it recently, the last weeks, we have been using this document most of the time, and then we have some other one as well that we have been used. But then I can also sort and say, I want to see which document has been most popular ever. So I sort on that one, and that SFV migration is obviously one that has been opened a lot of times. And then we have some other business document that's also obviously interesting for people since they open it a lot. But then I would maybe say, okay, that's interesting, but I want to see business document that talks about coding. So I'll switch and say, show me the same information but filter on code. And now I see I have a different view, different number of documents really, and I can see that this quotation document has been opened 27 times and so on. And that's quite handy actually. You get a really good idea on of what people are using your SharePoint environment for and what documents they really like. And then you can also do the ordinary filtering as you're well aware of from SharePoint Search. So for example, if I just want to see my own documents, I can click on that one. So it's now filtered on that one, or I want to see that person maybe, and so on, just skipping whatever I don't want to see. And that's now just most views, and then we can also say that we want most views per unique usage. I mean, the first one is if I open a document 5 times, I am one single user, but I open it 5 times, so it's listed here. But if I want to see how many users actually like a specific document, I can switch to this one, and then we can take away that the filter criteria, and I see that this document is obviously has been opened by most individuals and so on. And again, I can filter on the left side as I want to, and recommendation. And we don't really do recommendations. It's just the demos I have done now, so you can see something. But that's not really used for us. So that was how you find out for a specific document library what part in it that is actually interesting for people. So that was that part. And then we switch from usage to search statistics. Search is giving you statistics, is giving you a good understanding on what people are looking for. I mean, in the ordinary internet environment, when we all go out and browse the internet, we do search practically all the time, and that's because the information is so vast, and we never know really exactly what we are looking for. We're just looking for some information. That's why we search. But in SharePoint, we don't look for just any information. We are not looking for a contract. We are looking for a specific contract or a specific document or some specific site or so on. So SharePoint search is usually the backup plan or plan B when people don't find the information they're looking for. And that indicates that you probably have some work to do to refine your navigation on your intranet or whatever you use, in collaboration site maybe. So if people are searching a lot, then it means your navigation sucks, simply, and you need to do something about it. So how can you know if what people are searching for? Well, we have the search statistics, and we have it for a site collection, and we have it for a total for all site collection, but we don't have it for a specific site or a specific item, for example. That isn't existing. But if we go back to the site collection statistics I showed you before, the popularity and search, we can see for one specific site collection. So I'm jumping back to this one, and wait for it, and there we have it, popularity and search reports, sorry. Now we can start looking at what people are searching for. For example, the number of queries, how many times do they actually search? And that's okay, it may be interesting, and let's see if it's showing. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So we can see in our particular environment where we have SharePoint nerds working here, they do some but not that often document searching or whatever they're searching for, but you don't see exactly what they're searching for. You can see if they're searching for people, how many times are they looking for a specific person, or if you want to look at, we have some more as well. Just scroll because the screen resolution is a kind of bad, just to show you what we're doing. How many times are people looking for a video? That's kind of stuff. That's really result sources in SharePoint search, if you know that. But that's just give you an idea of what type of information, if it's searching for people or documents or videos. But then we have some more interesting search information. We have this top queries by the month and by the day. I'll show you by the month. So then we get a tab in an Excel spreadsheet for each month. So I can say, for example, what did we search for in November? And it's wasn't that much in October then. Okay, we had some more information. Just expand that a little, and we can see what kinds of information that has been searched for and the word they actually used for searching. So if, for example, they are searching for this one, which means quote, in Swedish for quote, that means that somebody is searching quite a lot, actually, 27 times for a quote. It's probably a demo, but let's pretend it was real. Then we have someone asking for a better way to finding the quotes. Maybe you should look to change the navigation to make that easier to find out. And this one is also really interesting. It's when people start doing search, but they're not happy with the results, so they simply skip the results, so they abandon the queries. So let's see once again, open the abandon by month. We can see someone has been searching here for a site ID, a specific site. If we go back to another date, let's say in November, someone was searching for CAP something. In October, we see some other, and all of these are showing searches that started but was never completed. And that's maybe typical for a demonstration of something, like we do a lot in my company, or it's because people are not happy with what they find when they do a search. And that should give you an indication that maybe we should look at how we organize information and maybe complement the search functionality. So when they search for MS, we should really show them Microsoft and so on. So we have synonyms and stuff like that. Yes, and then we also have no results, and that's if somebody searches for something and you get 0 results. Interesting. So they think it exists in the SharePoint environment, but it doesn't. The index engine in SharePoint hasn't found any item with that particular word. That's also interesting for us. But that's basically everything there is to it in SharePoint statistics. So if we look at the number of queries and top queries and so on, we get a good idea of what people are looking for and what they actually do click on or abandon. But really, this is not everything we need to know. So we should really have some smarter way of doing presentations and the statistics of presentations. And that's something Arthur will tell you about in just a few minutes. This is actually my last slide, and that is a tip that if you want to know how much storage every site or library or document is used, you can use something called storage metrics. So let's open this one again and switch to site settings, and then we have storage metrics down there. So now I can see that the site that's actually requiring most space in our environment is obviously the one called Kusher, which means trainings, 1.3 gigabytes, and so on. And if I want to see exactly what's taking so much space in that site, I can click on it to open that particular site. And then I see, it's the document. Okay, that library is taking almost all of that 1.3 gigabytes. So it's 1.1 actually, and so on. So you can drill down to actually find out where or what part of SharePoint is requiring so much space. That was storage metrics, and that concludes my presentation, really. So I'm handing over to you, Arthur, if you are with me.
Thank you, Goran. Thank you for this presentation. Incredibly helpful, and I'm sure there's a lot of good pieces that our attendees will be able to take out from your presentation. So thank you very much. And indeed,
you're welcome.
Thanks. And indeed, in continuation to these statistics on SharePoint, I think the next step is definitely the analytics. I would say more in-depth analytics for SharePoint and Office 365. And I think for that, one of the best solution is definitely Cardiolog Analytics. Again, because it's designed for SharePoint, it's a very complementary tool with those native statistics. And the analytics, you can see one of our dashboards on your screens right now. Our analytics are based on the JavaScript tracking code. And we don't rely on SharePoint Analytics. So when we install our solution, we put a JavaScript tracking code on all the pages. It's a farm solution that enables to take the actions, somehow to say, and put these actions convert those actions, into data. And then from our solution, Cardiolog, you can create your report and understand how it works. One of the goals, as I said earlier, is to track adoptions, and for that, I have selected 4 key ways to track adoptions. So among those 4, we have users. Users is always important, especially in large organizations, to know who is using the portal or not. And then when I'm speaking of users, it's not only the specific users, but it also can be their groups or their departments. Cardiolog integrates with SharePoint profiles, groups, and Active Directories. Then we have also a good look at the productivity. Who is doing what? Always important to know that no one is left behind. And in order to make sure that the adoption is going well, we have also to improve the collaboration. And one of the good features of Cardiolog is to be able to track and make sure that the collaboration is going well. Otherwise, I think it's definitely the job of Goran and other specialists of SharePoint to find solution within organizations to make sure that the collaboration is going well. But of course, for that you need to be able to have metrics and to measure this collaboration. And then we will just have a quick sea of engagements. As I said, it's a very important part of Cardiolog. You can build even the most beautiful reports for years, but if at some point you're not able to engage with the users, and especially in large organization, you can't go desk by desk and ask questions. So you need a simple tool that will enable you to engage with the users and make sure to understand to receive their feedback, of course, and understand what may be their pains and challenges with SharePoint. So just to give you a brief preview of the solution, and we're going to look at the different metrics just after the actionable metrics. So this is how Cardiolog works. So we have when you create your dashboards in order to create your report, you have a selection of categories. So this is the part on the left part on the screen. So we have the different categories such as page views, visitor, navigation. Navigation is also very interesting. We will maybe talk to it in another webinar. But it's also the way to understand how people navigate through the pages. It's always very important. On-site searches, very complementary to what Goran just show us with the different statistics on search. Also with Cardiolog, maybe you can go deeper in order to understand what are the key searches, if the people find a good results, how many results show for each term that people are querying, and so on, and also portal growth category. And among all those categories, you have different analytics available. And so, for example, here we are looking at the visitors on the right part of the screen with the number of unique users, who are the AD groups. So, for example, very interesting to be able to go among all the department in the organization, and for example, to provide training to the departments who are more in pain in terms of adoptions of SharePoint. And this is how Cardiolog works. So once you select your category, then your analytic, you can also choose the way you want to see how you want to display the report. I mean the analytics within your dashboard. So starting with the users, which is, I would say, the basic or the foundation of this analytics that we need to understand. We can start here with two very simple widgets. Simple not because they are simple somehow to say, but just simple because if you don't need this, if you don't have those ones, it's going to be hard to help with the adoption. So we have the unique users. Again, we integrate with the unique users, so we can see the names of the users, see their account names, see how many views they have on SharePoint, visit if they are searching for items, and also their visit duration. Maybe, and especially in the Nordic countries, but not only, but also, for example, Germany, there is a lot of issues with privacy. So for the one who it might concern here, let me reassure you right away, we are used to deal with organizations that are that have to comply with hard privacy laws. So you can hide those names and change them into numbers. And of course, if you won't be able to see the names, you will still be able to drill down into the users to see, for example, for specific users or their activity. And also, you can focus only on the group or the department they belong to understand how it's going on. And next, on the right, you have the page views. So to track adoptions, you have to understand the users. And part of this understanding, what is very important, it's what is popular on your portal. And then when I'm thinking of popular, I'm also thinking of not popular. So all the content can be tracked and ranged by most popular, but also you can change the sort order and see everything that is not popular on the portal, and make sure that if it's very important within the organization, that a specific page, a specific site, any level of the portal hierarchy basically is attracting users in terms of views, but also you can check that by number of unique users, for example, or exit rate, which is a fundamental analytics in this analytics world. Exit rate is very important to understand because if they are leaving a page where they should spend some time because it has a lot of information about the company and so on, or rules, it means that it's not, the adoption is very bad. But let's focus on the sites and the users. So again, by understanding where people are going, and if they're not going to the place that you would like them to go, maybe it's time to redesign some home pages with likes, with links, excuse me, to make sure that people will see the information they should see. And we are coming here to a very also interesting part of the adoption with analytics. Let me call them the evangelists, people that you can rely on within the different organization, people that that basically other people are following, and you can use them. They are your champions in this world. So, for example, with the influential user on the bottom, I'm starting from the bottom. You have, for everyone in the organization, you can see how many people are following them. So you can see which one is the most popular, and it can definitely help you to enhance the productivity and the adoption on the portal, because it's an evangelist basically. So what he says, people are more likely to follow him, especially on the social network that may go along with SharePoint, such as Yammer, but also the native social features of SharePoint. And at the top of the screen, you have the user activity. So again, here, when we are in a time where the social activities coming from social networks is taking a lot taking a lot of also space within the organizations, and we try to drive adoption with that. It's interesting to see for each user's number of posts, comments, discussions, replies. So there is two things here. First, you can identify evangelists again, but also, and maybe more interesting when we speak about adoption, is to see who is less using those tools. Not because you want to punish them, of course, but also because you don't want to left them behind. And this is something very important with the analytics and statistics that can help you, is to make sure that everyone will follow the flow, basically, and won't be left behind again. But let's talk now about maybe productivity, because productivity, after all, when we are speaking about organization, business, it's something very, very important, of course. So what is important about and where is joining productivity collaboration is what is behind the scene of SharePoint, and it's created for that. You can, starting with the average number of contribution per user on the top of the screen, you can, with this metric, you can see if people are active on SharePoint by adding content. It can be sites, it can be documents, and so on. So you can see the trends within the portal and also measure the success of recent implementation, especially if we are speaking of Office 365, when it's as it's a very nice tool and maybe first portal for some organization, because it's very easy to install and to use. Those kind of analytics will help you to follow this adoption and make sure that it's working. And maybe if it's going slower than expected, you need to put more efforts on it. And if it's going as you want, it's a great thing to show also to your to the different business unit and even the executive part of the company that give the green light to invest into SharePoint. And as Goran was saying earlier, we have also a search category in Cardiolog that help us to track maybe more in depth all the statistic features that are native into SharePoint with the on-site search phrases of Cardiolog. For example, you can see specific terms people have been looking for. And what is interesting in this widget, so we have the terms such as enterprise or business data. So if we take the example of business data, we can see that over a date range, so in Cardiolog you can select a specific date range from this hour, so very near real-time data, to last year, or you can pick up dates from the calendar. So we have over the specific date range again 250 searches for business data. Usually when you type this term, you have 4 results that show up. I said usually, but I meant an average. because of course over the time the number of results can change, and if you have a large date range in your report, it wouldn't make sense to say 4 results from last year, for example. And then you have the number of clicks. The number of clicks shows the success rate of the searches, and the gap between the clicks and the number of searches means how people, when people didn't find the information they were looking for, so either they abandoned the search or just were totally and continue searching because they couldn't find the information they were looking for. So based on those results, and especially on those gaps, you can make sure to take actions around your search engine and portal to optimize it, and maybe also to understand what content is very queried by the users and make it more accessible, starting from an home page of a specific site or for the portal itself. And this is especially where, and this is the core of productivity. And analytics can definitely help you. And if we continue with collaboration, we can see that speaking of collaboration, cardiologists also have a full range of analytics available, starting from the content that has been liked. So each content within the portal, we can see the likes and see the least. It's another way, of course, to see the least popular content in the portal, and also the rating of the content. And this is very important, both on collaboration and productivity, because if you put a lot of investment in those social features of SharePoint, and you want to understand, to have feedback, some bit of feedback from the users, the average rating and the number of raters can be interesting also to understand which content is very valuable to the users and which might not be. And if there is an opposition or contradiction between your views as administrators or as business users against the end users, maybe it's time to sit and understand how you can make all these content that are very valuable to you more attractive to user, to make sure that the collaboration is taking the good path. And as I started a little to speak of engagement within the collaboration, SharePoint is a great tool again, especially because it helps also to build within the organization some, I will call it honestly team building, since you can have those communities. It's in a different perspective because it definitely works, but it's make people work together and collaborate and engage together because they can discuss within their SharePoint to understand business questions, for example, or needs from customers or even within the organization. And all those community sites, especially, are very nice within SharePoint, but there are few missing parts that we need to focus on today. And I will give you a brief example. One American customer of ours contacted us because they had 5,000 community sites within their SharePoint portal. It's huge amount. Because of course, when you give the opportunity to someone to create a site and it's very free, everyone tries to create his own site, community site, sorry. But at the end, you are not able to see what is effective and not effective. And of course, you want, as administrators especially, you don't want your portal to be polluted by a large range of unused community sites where no one is on or no action is taking place. So for that, we have, with Cardiolog, we have two widgets, community sites. So for each of those sites, you can see the number of members. Again, the most popular, but also the least popular. So even the community sites with 0 members or only 1, they don't need to exist. So you can start decommissioning and have some housekeeping within your portal to make it very productive. And then, even if the number of members is not enough, you can have this widget called Communities Activity. So behind the number of users, because at the end you can only have 10 users, but it will be the most active site. So you can check that with this widget that will show you the number of discussions and replies within each site. Almost done here. Last part as a continuation is the engagement pillar of Cardiolog. So we have this monitoring pillar that helps you to create reports to understand the usage of your portal. And the second pillar, which is very interesting and very evaluated by our customers, is the engagement part. And here I will especially focus on the surveys that are developed by Cardiolog. So you can create surveys within Cardiolog interface and implement it into SharePoint pages, such as in our example. And it's a great example since we are speaking of search, and it's one of the topic today. The surveys here can be created without coding a single line, so it's very easy to use. And again, Cardiolog is not only for IT people, it's also for communication. All the end users that are looking for answers to their questions regarding the portal. And so again, even if you don't have a background in IT, you can create those surveys very easy. 2 minutes, you just select the page where it should appear. You can also segment your survey. So if you want to only ask specific members of a specific group, you can do it. And then you just write down your question. Here it's English, it could be in Finnish, Swedish, whatever it is. Then you choose a type of answers, yes or no, or open text. And from this particular moment, you can start collecting feedback very easily from your users and analyze the results. And you can also, which is very nice, export those results as web parts, so the results of the survey, but even the reports of Cardiologs. And here I'm coming back to a larger picture. All the reports that you create with Cardiologs can be exported mail, PDF, Excel, great, but also web parts. And web parts are amazing since first they will be also automatically refreshed, so you can have new data every day, week, and month. And also you can engage directly and maybe have some gamification with your end users, so they see the results. So everything, all the efforts they are putting, and sometimes adoption of SharePoint might not be easy for everyone. So if they can see the results on their pages, I think it's amazing, and it's very helping them to understand. So this is it for our webinar today. And I will start to go over some of the questions that we have already in the question panel of GoToWebinar. So it's always time to add more questions. I think the first question that we have here is for Goran, and during the presentation on the site, you had the question was, is it a team site or a BI site? I'm not sure to understand the. So basically, I think business intelligence site.
Do you hear me? Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Am I out? Oh, good. That is for all kinds of sites, but what I showed you was a team site. So you can also work with a BI site or a publishing site.
Great. I see that we have another question for you, Goran. It's about it's about the queries. Some of the statistics when we are looking at the Excel document. Sometimes you have terms associated with the queries, and for others there were no terms. Is there a specific reason for that, or just because it's mainly demo, I guess?
Yes, it was just for the demo, and of course you can find out more specific technical details about how Microsoft built those search queries and presentation of the results. I mean, that's definitely available on TechNet and a lot of other blogs, but that was just for the presentation.
Great, thank you, Goran. I see that here we have a question. Maybe we'll take one or two others, and then we'll end this webinar. And of course, all the pending questions will be answered by private email. And of course, as I said, we will send to everyone the link. So for the video, once it will be uploaded early next week. And if you want to contact us in order to have maybe more one-to-one discussions, we'll be always happy to show you all the analytics around SharePoint with Cardiolog. So one of the last question was for Cardiolog, and it's about hosting. We didn't have the time today to go over these details, so I'm glad someone asked these questions. Cardiolog has two solutions. One is on-prem, so mainly designed for SharePoint on-premise editions, but it's not only the case. Also, if you have SharePoint Online or even hybrid architecture, we can still be on-prem. Even it's Office 365, you can have on-prem Cardiolog, and then it will be hosted on a SQL server. Otherwise, we have a SaaS offering, and all the data will be hosted on Microsoft Azure server, which of course comply with all the security measures that your data requires.
Arthur, can I just point out one thing?
Absolutely.
It's the wrong, my mail address and web address is wrong. It says .de, it should say .se, like Sweden, on this page you show now.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for that. My mistake, and my apologize, Goran.
No worries.
I will make sure that all the communication, especially if someone wants to see the slide deck, we will change it. And thank you for that. I think this is it for today. Thank you everyone for joining, especially Goran for such impressive information on statistics on SharePoint.
Thanks for inviting me. It was a pleasure.
It's always a pleasure, Goran, to talk with you and to benefit from your large experience on SharePoint. It's almost the weekend, so I wish to everyone a nice weekend. Not too cold, I hope, and a very productive following week with SharePoint.
Yeah, thank you.